Getting a little eager, ready to wander off. Yeah, good boy. All right, ready? Good boy. All right, so here we are with Mr. Tom Sawyer, just about to wrap up his 3rd month. It's been really cold the last little while. Pretty frosty today too. I think it's warmed up a bit. I think it's minus 18-ish right now, but it was really cold this morning. And yesterday was really windy and miserable. But maybe we're getting close to the end of winter time. Good boy. So just figured we'd kind of, just kind of go through where we're at and what we've been doing. And good boy. He's doing quite well. He's starting to understand the work quite a bit more, a little more comfortable with what he's doing, developing strength and better balance, and just sort of figuring things out and learning how to move a little bit more in a positive way. Starting to be able to focus for longer stretches on what he's doing. So kind of building that mental strength as well as the physical part. Having him, good boy, just be responsive to our forward aids and our asking, our movements of our seat and body, being a little bit more aware of how we're sitting and where we're placing our weight, and then just responding a little bit more accordingly. Kind of starting to mirror the position of our body around. Good boy. And just slowly starting to work on that, like I talked about last time, that circuit from our leg aid up to his brain and then back to his feet. At that time was a pretty long path. And just as he starts to develop and figure things out a little bit better, that path is getting shorter, all within reason, of course, for the amount of work that he's had, but he's starting to sort those things out better and better. Good boy. Just working on kind of moving the shoulders around as we're walking around here. Just testing if I give a little vibration with the leg. Good boy. If I feel a response from him, doesn't necessarily have to be where he, jumps up into trot or just kind of gets going right away or becomes really animated, but just to feel that response there so that he's aware of those little asks and how he responds to them. So even though we're walking around, we can still work on a lot of things. We can start to work on the left shoulder control here. Can turn my hips and my lower body into the turn, keep my shoulders and my upper body in a different position. And just kind of working on introducing those feelings to him of what to do in accordance with where we're sitting and how we're sitting and where we're kind of directing our energy and where we're kind of positioning his body through our body and then giving a little bit of an invitation to go in a different direction. So again, even though a lot of it may be in some walk work, we can develop a great deal just at the walk. And I think sometimes that's where people kind of get a little bit confused on working with young horses. Not everything has to be done at hours of trot or canter. Good boy. Good. So there, where he came into that corner back there and the birds are starting to chirp and sing a little, we must have woke them up, I guess. And he starts to bring his head up and his ears are focused a little bit more on those corner stalls. I can start to create a little bit more activity in my seat and my lower back. And because he's starting to understand what that means and starting to move from that movement of my body and react to that and respond to those movements in my body and my seat, I can start to introduce a little bit more movement here and start to let go in my lower back and my hips and my seat, and then have him feel that and start to dissipate that tension in his hips and lower back and everything behind the saddle. I can start to dissolve that tension that's building there just from the movement of my lower body. And it's not, then I don't really have to clamp the leg on and try to make him do something or push him through that corner. We can kind of swing him through that corner, and it's a little different conversation then. Good boy. So, you know, again, and still not really trying to make things perfect by any means, just kind of riding him, guiding him, helping him find balance with the rider on, learning how to organize his body for transitions and canter transitions and whatever the case may be. Good boy. Developing that strength and the balance and the confidence to just continue moving forward. And so I'm riding with the whip so I can then touch him different areas of the body if I need to bring his attention a little bit to a shoulder or a particular hind leg. You know, just let him trot here. Good. Help him find this feeling of being a little bit self-propelled, so set him up in the gait that we want, the pace that we would like, and then just try to ride that and let him take a little bit of responsibility for maintaining that forwardness and that energy on his own. So we start to instill a bit of the work ethic and start to give him a little bit more responsibility. So in time, we don't have to, he doesn't teach us to do all the work. Touch on the shoulder here. Good. And so because, you know, of his age and his training, keep moving. He wants to fall in one way or the other. So we can kind of help a little bit with the whip on the shoulder. Yep. Good. Just start to increase the difficulty level a little bit, but not demanding that it be perfect. Just looking for some progress. Yeah. And then if he starts to fall asleep and completely tune us out, then we're going to bring his attention a little bit here. Good boy. Good. And he'll get a little bit bunched up and a little bit short. And he gets a little bit, there we go. Yeah, good. And forward again. Yep. And then if he starts to push through and take over a little too much, you can be a little bit firmer. Say, no, 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 not there. Yeah, good. Good. And then a bit softer when we can. We still have some guidelines and some rules that we need to play within. Good. Yeah, good. Just make the correction and then go away. Yeah, yeah, good. Encourage him to bring the neck up a little bit. Yes. Right. Good. Start to work a little bit on, yes, changing the neck position and the head position. So he starts to engage different muscles, different ways of carrying that will be a little more difficult at times. Good. You can bring the pole up a little bit. Ask for a little bit more engagement. Good. Let the neck down a bit. Good. Work the right shoulder here. That's a bit hard. That's okay. Good. Yeah. Good. And a little walk break. Been so cold the last few days that it's drying out the sand in the air so much that it's starting to get dusty everywhere. Be nice to get some warmer weather and spray a little bit of water on the footing. Yeah, good. Good, that's it. And then again in the walk breaks, just using those moments to go back to explaining things a little bit, working on the shoulder control and the bend in the body. All of the things that you start to lose a little bit of as the speed goes up and the balance goes down and fall into old movement patterns, old habits of going. Good boy. So you can work on cleaning those up and making them a little bit more clear to him in the walk work. And then in time, in the coming months or over the next year or so, all of that, as his strength develops more and more, all those little things in the trot and the canter just start to take care of themselves because he's just physically able to do them better. Good boy. Pick that left shoulder. Yeah. Good. Good boy. Yeah, good. Good. Work a little bit on the forward and back. Good boy. Good. Bring some energy up and forward. And some energy down. And go forward. Yeah, good boy. And starting to work the body from front to back or back to front, the length of the body. Energy up. Yeah. Energy down. Good. And he's kind of at that point too where he's figuring out energy down doesn't necessarily mean stop all the time. You know, so we can go into the halt transitions quite easy, which is sort of what he, you know, learned in the very beginning, to go and to stop. Now we're just working on sprinkling in the idea of the half halts, where to go and not a stop, whether that be from transition to transition, or if it's within the gait, a little bigger trot to a smaller trot. Energy up again. Good. And just encouraging to lengthen the neck as we can, and bringing the front end up a little bit, the shoulder. Yeah, good. Not really worrying a whole bunch about the head position right now. It'll take care of itself as the time comes. And walk on. Good boy. Good. Shoulders. Good. Yeah, good. And shoulder right. Or right shoulder. Good. Good. And over the last little while, more and more consistently, he's got his ears kind of, good for you, he's got his ears turned back on the rider, and just kind of checking in and being present and thinking, and there we go, and waiting, you know, just kind of starting to participate a lot more in the conversation that's going on right here, and not worrying as much about everything else that was going on as before. Yeah, starting to take full breaths and let some air out, you know, and just really kind of gaining that confidence and that ability to kind of let go internally and just allow himself to feel the work a little bit more. Ready? Come. Good. So I'm going to go into some canter in a second. I still take it from the incorrect diagonal, but I'm going to switch here to the correct one. When I get ready for the canter, I'm going to switch so he feels that change and starts to prepare himself a little bit for something. Then I'm going to bring my energy up and whistle. I'm going to switch here. And canter. Got it, good. And trying that's it. I forgot to pick your foot up, hey? Just trying in that canter to be a good passenger. Not trying to nitpick and make things a certain way right now. Yep, thank you. Trying to help him find his balance with me up here. Trying to not cause him grief while I'm up here. Yeah. And just letting him find that while he develops the strength and the balance to carry us both around. I can help him and I can guide him a little bit. but I don't want to try to make the canter so that it's a certain way or that it's perfect or what I feel it should be at this moment, because then I can start to create some tension in him, start to inadvertently teach him how to use the reins in my hands as another balancing point. So we'll just let it be what it is. Come, good. And we just continue to develop it from there without any stress or any fuss. And then in a short time, it becomes what we're looking for. Good. All on its own, kind of organically. And we don't have to come back in a year or two and try to fix the mess we made in the first 3 months. Good boy. Good for you. That's it. Good. You ready? We'll do a little bit to the left. Get your right hind. Yeah, good. 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 So the same thing. Start off on what we consider the correct diagonal. I'm going to switch. I'm going to energize. We'll try again. Might need a bathroom break. Yeah, okay. Fair enough. Good for you. That's another interesting thing for him, you know, because he tends to be the type of horse that keeps things inside a little bit. He's a little bit introverted and doesn't really show oftentimes that things are bothering him. So it took quite a while, because he tends to keep everything in, it took quite a while for him to start to take those deep breaths and, you know, those soft blowing the butterflies out, I call it. And it, you know, it was not that long ago, maybe about 3.5 weeks ago maybe, that he started dropping manure in the arena for the first time. And again, that seems like an odd thing, but it's a really good indicator for how the horse is feeling internally when they start to let things go. Good boy. And they start to feel a little bit better inside, more relaxed and softer, that they can let down and let these things out, you know, whether it be the butterflies in the tummy that they're like there, or it's dropping manure. And you can have the opposite too. A horse that's really kind of anxious and nervous and tight might drop manure 10 times while you're working them for the first while. Thank you. All right, dude, you ready? So it's a nice indicator. So I don't make a big deal with the young horses if they need to, you know, if they need to stop for a bathroom break. I don't really matter to me what we're in the middle of. If it's trying to build into canter and all of a sudden they need to and they stop, I really don't care. Because some horses, like him, where he's in a frame of mind where he can let go enough to do that, I'm not going to try to push him through at the same time and then make, you know, give him stress about that as well. So might be a little odd, not something you hear talked about a whole bunch, but is something that I have come to understand is a really good indicator. So again, I'm going to go on the correct diagonal. I'm going to switch, energize, and go. And go. and keep going. That's it. Good for you. Good. So we get the moments where we can get the canter, get the blood flowing, get the heart pumping, get the adrenaline up a little bit, and then just go on a nice relaxed walk. Not quite that relaxed. Watch out for my block. Thank you. Good. And then give him the opportunity to just kind of bring those heightened emotions down a little bit. And it's not that he's, obviously he's not really stressed about it, but everything gets going a little faster. Everything's a little more difficult at this point. So to be able to just then go into that kind of mindset. Good boy. Yes, good. Yep, good. So just kind of then experimenting with things like that corner, when his ears go both forward and he's a little bit disconnected from our conversation, I start to increase the mobility of my seat, maybe start to cluck or kiss a little bit, maybe shake the rein if I need to, and I just want one ear to kind of flick back towards me and just say, yep, I'm still here, and then I just, cease with those movements and stuff, just so I can start to, again, just cement in those ideas that when we start to move, he feels our body kind of breaking free and letting go, that he can follow suit with his body in the moments when there might be tension building there. So here, I'm just going to, that's it. And he lowers his head and just feels a bit softer in my hand. So I don't have to pull on his face or kick him in the ribs. It's not the stuff that I want to do. I have really no interest in that stuff. So I'd like to be able to just help them understand how to respond in a better way in those moments. And that starts within, the very beginning of their work. Yep, good. So that we don't just kind of ride with a little bit the mindset of we'll kick and pull to go and turn at this stage, and then later on when the real training starts, we'll start to ride him with a little bit more finesse. To ride him with that finesse mindset in the beginning, even though they don't understand it, but they come to pick up on it really quite quick. Boy. That's it. Good. And so I still, obviously still have the neck strap on him. It's something that I really like to use for the young horses, especially in the rein back, especially in times when we're working on canter in particular, if I need to pick up on it and help kind of regain some balance or work a little bit more difficulty for a stride or two, I can do that without working the mouth and potentially shortening the neck and causing some stress, some tension in the body. I could pick up on the neck rope and they start to bring, and they start to bring the chest up and they rebalance from a lifting of the front and not because we're pulling on and shortening the neck. And so he's, like I said, he's starting to really come into an understanding of what to do. He just needs time now to develop that strength and the balance and the more confidence and just kind of keep progressing on the way he is. There's a lot of horse in here. I feel there's a lot more trot to bring out of him. There's a lot more canter in there yet, but he has just, for the most part, just really nice, easy kind of gaits. So you have that to begin with already. And just kind of keep developing his mind and his body and let everything just kind of click into place. And then every time you come to one level up a little bit, things just get a little bit better and a little bit better. So yeah, he's doing quite well. Hey? Yeah, I think he seems to be, for the most part, enjoying the work. He's at the point it's still really early, obviously, but he's at the point where you can every now and then just start to ask him a little bit more difficult question, and he'll start to search around for the answer. Even if he doesn't know the answer, he's searching and trying to sort out what it is that you're looking for, as opposed to just kind of throwing his hands up in the air and going, nope, can't do that, so forget it. And and there's a lot of them that are like that as well, where no is just a go-to. So yeah, he's in a pretty good spot. So, all right, thank you, and I'll talk to you soon.